Welcome back to Dear Katie, where I answer your social media questions. So if you have a question, make sure that you head over to dearkatie.leaders-online.com, submit your question there, and it just might be covered in an upcoming video or upcoming newsletter. And then to make sure that you stay up to date on all things Dear Katie, get these questions and their answers delivered straight to your inbox, make sure you're subscribed at leaders-online.com/blog. And today, if you are watching live, let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments. I always love to see where everyone's at. And we actually have an awesome question today. It's one that I have gotten asked by a lot of people. So whenever I saw it come through into Dear Katie, I was like, okay, we've got to break this one down. And that is, what can I expect in terms of an ROI from content? So what can I expect in terms of ROI from content? And I really like this question because content, if you have ever tried to produce it or you've thought about producing it, you probably know that it takes a lot of time. And so you should be able to tie an ROI back to it and eventually. Now, before we actually dive into the specifics, I just want to say, okay, I am a CPA and I love numbers. I love them. I don't think I'd be a CPA if I didn't love numbers. But if you're just looking at the numbers, you can make really poor short-term decisions that then hinder your long-term success. And this is especially true when you start talking about social media and content. And I'm going to tell you why. And I think the best way is to give you some examples. So, not too long ago, I posted about an offering where I was opening up 5 spots for this very specific thing. And right away, I had applications come in, and those spots were filled almost instantly. And so someone could say, hey, that post on social media, that ROI of that post was X dollars that post from those 5 clients brought in. But that's not the case, because had I not been posting for years now, if I would just post that offering, no way would I have gotten 5 people. No way. Would have no credibility, no social proof. No one would know me. So to say that post brought in those dollars is totally inaccurate and does not tell the full story. Let me give you another example. I attended quite a few conferences over the summer, and one in particular, I walked away and I didn't have any new clients. I met a ton of people, but I did not walk away with any new clients. And personally, I was totally fine with that. So if I just looked at the numbers, I could say that was a bad investment. I spent money to go, I spent time, which is often more valuable than money, and I did not walk away with any clients. But what I did walk away with from that conference was new relationships, new contacts, new people that I could introduce my clients to that could help them on specific things. And as a result, a few weeks, actually months later, one of the people I met there, they actually introduced me to a friend who is now a client. So the numbers make sense now, looking back on things, but that's my point. It can't just be something that you look at as, okay, this post or that post should bring me income. But if we zoom out and we look at everything from a bigger picture, what kind of ROI can you actually expect from social media? So if you are regularly producing good content, if you have a defined niche, if you're active online, so this means more than just posting, you're engaging with people, you're having conversations, you're building a network, you will see a return on investment. How soon is that? No one can answer it for you. You could have your content really take off in the first month, the first few months. As a general rule of thumb, you should be seeing positive signals in 3 to 6 months. And so if you're like me and you do love numbers, what are some things that you can look to see some positive signals and start to try to measure the ROI on your content? The first thing is, make sure that you look at channels as a whole. So, for example, if we talk about that one post for me that had a bunch of people book an appointment right away, I don't want to look at that one post. I want to look at the platform as a whole and see, okay, people booking on my calendar, where are they coming from? Are they coming from LinkedIn? Are they coming from Instagram? Are they coming from a podcast episode that I did? For example, I was on The Abundant Accountant, and that podcast episode, after it released, I got 8 or 9 calls within a week of that episode releasing. So I can see, okay, that channel, podcasting, is very, very effective. So make sure that you zoom out on your channels. For me, LinkedIn is definitely the most positive channel as a whole. And I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to restart this live stream in a second. We're taking a quick break because I've got to answer this call. Okay, so sorry. I had been waiting for a phone call all day and I just got it. So I needed to take that. So we were talking about look at the channel as a whole and zoom out, not individual pieces of content. The next thing you really want to think about is looking at the quality of the activity and seeing where you're seeing those positive signals. So, for example, maybe your social media posts, they don't get as many views, likes, or comments as you would like, but you are seeing an increase in comments from people in your niche. Or maybe you've been getting questions in your direct message from your target niche asking you questions. Those are positive signals that would indicate you're moving in the right direction. So start seeing like where are these positive signals coming from? How can you do more of that? If you're using LinkedIn as your platform, I really recommend getting Shield Analytics. It really shows you a lot of important information. For example, you can see the titles and where people work at that are viewing your post, and it'll aggregate that data for you. So you get a lot of insights more than just your post got this many views or this many likes or this many this many views, likes, or comments. The next thing to think about is to not compare one piece of content to another. So we already talked about the importance of looking at the platform as a whole, but even is equally as important as that is to not compare your content piece to another content piece, because let's say that I'm looking at that post that booked me a bunch of calls to sell out my offering I had not too long ago. I could say, okay, that post, it booked me out. It brought a lot of calls. Let's keep doing content like that. But the truth is that content, people would wear out. People would get tired of this. And I actually have a newsletter going out soon talking about how do you balance promotional and non-promotional content. You need a balance of this. And if you just were doing promotional content, not only would your audience be turned off, but that post is likely going to have a lot different engagement than one that invites people in. So again, you can't just like look at the numbers. There's going to be different factors that cause people to take action, whether that is to engage with your content, whether that's to book a call. And getting that balance is all part of an art and a science that it takes time. Everything works together. And so you can't compare one piece of content to the next. So I hope that's helpful. You should absolutely see an ROI on your content over time. Stay consistent, make sure it's quality, and make sure you're not just posting content. This is something that I talk to all of my clients with. If we are just supporting them in the content production process, then it's really important to me and my team that they understand that content does not do everything. Sure, there are some people that they already have the audience, they already have the community, they can post and kind of get away with not being as active in engaging in building out their community. But for 99.9% of people, it's so important and you have to invest in that. So I hope that's helpful. If you have questions, let me know. Make sure that if you have questions related to social media, that you head on over to dearkatie.leaders-online.com. Submit your questions there. And don't forget to subscribe at leaders-online.com/blog. And I will catch you in the next episode. Thanks everyone for joining.